Football has revived in Somalia, and it may not take years after all before the country could be ready to compete at international level thanks to football fans who have proved that there is more than just winning in games. Mohamed Tirmoge looks into the progress of the Somali football team.
The recovery of football in Somalia continues to gather pace. Resilience is one of the key factors.
Security and sponsorship and also the side of the government have no interest to develop for the football. But what we have is, we have people like football by any means. If they have the money or not, they are ready to play, like our players.
Though Somalia was tossed out of the recent CECAFA competition in the early stages after losing to both Burundi and Tanzania, still the team received praise for fair display, even producing the man-of-the-man match in the game against Tanzania. To officials, there's a sign of how far the Somali game has come in a very short time. FIFA resumed its support last year, following years of isolation forced by civil conflict and insecurity. One result of FIFA's reenactment is that the city's Kony Stadium now has an artificial turf, which has had a major impact on training.
Our players, they made training for before the CECAFA for just 45 days. And that progress came from this stadium. Because if you have the facility, you can promote your football.
FIFA also provided courses for local coaches to identify and promote the next Somali football stars. The local league too has resumed this year, and the country has bigger dreams.
Somalia are ready to qualify for the World Cup. Our willing is in 2018.
And whether they qualify or not, Somali footballers can count on plenty of support from their fans. Mohamed Tirmoge, CCTV, Mogadishu.
Now, 17 years ago, Bashir Ramadan's life changed forever. The young man from a Kampala slum had been a construction worker and an athlete, and then he lost his sight. But Bashir is a fighter in more ways than one. He made a name for himself as a boxer, determined to prove a person can overcome the greatest obstacles to achieve his dream.
Middleweight boxer Bashir Ramadan excites his fans as he knocks out his opponents one match after the other. But Bashir is no ordinary boxer. He is completely blind. He started losing his sight in 1995 and went totally blind in 1999 due to an infection in his optical nerve. But despite his blindness, the love for boxing never died with his sight, and today Bashir is punching his way through life.
I knew boxing before I got blind, but I was not serious about it. But in 2005, I started taking it seriously and trained a lot, and now I'm a very good boxer.
Bashir does his training in Kampala's Naguru suburb. With sweat running down his face, he rains punches on the punching bag, all under the watchful eye of his coach Hassan Khalil. He has been training Bashir for the past 8 years, and is one of the few professional coaches in the world who can train a blind boxer.
It's hard to train a blind boxer who is blind, just blind, when he hasn't been boxed. But Bashir knew boxing. Now it was easy for me to train him because he knows jab, he knows right, he knows 1-2, he knows uppercut, he knows left hook, any techniques in the boxing he knows.
It has always been Bashir's dream for blind boxing to be recognized internationally, so that one day he might be able to represent his country. Out of Uganda's 34 million people, around 300,000 are blind. This constitutes 1% of the country's population, Bashir being the only blind boxer in the country. Uganda has a long history of boxing, starting with the former Ugandan president, General Idi Amin Dada, who was a boxing champion in the British colonial army. Alan Choro, CCTV, Kampala, Uganda.